In today's video, we are going to be talking about how you can prepare your therapy practice for an EHR. Now, an EHR, for those of you who don't know, is an electronic health record system, and it's basically like a CRM or a customer database, but specifically for people in healthcare and mental health, like therapists in private practice. It allows you to add all your client data on there, including your session notes. You can also schedule appointments, send reminders, invoice, and everything else that comes with running a private practice. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim. I help therapists in private practice with their business systems and processes, getting them confident with admin and reducing tech overwhelm. And that's specifically what we're talking about today, where I'm going to help reduce tech overwhelm around EHRs. Now, my preferred EHR is Power Diary. I love Power Diary. It's the only system that I use and recommend with my own clients. I do have a free resource for you as well, which is going to help get all of the information about your private practice out of your head and onto paper so that you can start with an EHR. And this will really work with any EHR because you'll still need the same information out of your head, but I have made it specifically for Power Diary because it also does have a setup checklist as well, so that you can mark off all of the things that you need to set up when setting up the Power Diary system. So I'll leave a link in the description for that if you are interested in that free resource. But for now, let's get into the video and talk about what you need to do to prepare your therapy practice to set up an EHR. And like I said, this is going to be for any EHR, even though my preferred one is Power Diary. So the first thing you want to do is assess your practice's needs. Now, not all private practices will need an EHR, and there isn't a hard and fast rule of when you should set up an EHR. Like, I have 10 clients, now I need an EHR. It doesn't work like that. Realistically, what you want to look at is how much an EHR is. So you'll definitely need to do some research on different EHRs to decide what it is that you can afford based on what they're saying that they have to offer. And the number one thing is that you need to be able to afford the EHR. Now, you may be spending loads and loads of time on your practice admin, and actually by setting up an EHR, you could take on one extra client, which would more than pay for the EHR that you are using. Once you have decided that you can afford an EHR and that is the way that you want to go, you really want to evaluate your current procedures. You want to understand your current workflows, your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, so that you can identify where having an EHR is going to benefit you. Lots of the ways that you do things currently, whether that is manual or maybe you don't do them at all, for example, invoicing. Maybe you don't currently send your clients an invoice, but the back end of invoicing, so checking payments and all that kind of stuff, is an absolute pain in the butt for you. So there'll be some processes that you have that will be completely eradicated by an EHR. Another example of this is if you send manual reminders to your clients. So maybe you send them kind of like an appointment confirmation, and you also send an appointment reminder the morning of, and you do that all manually. That can be completely eradicated with an EHR because you can set up automated reminders for your clients, and that process will just be completely gone. So you do really want to think about all of the processes that you have in your private practice currently. And a good way to do that is to track your time. So just take 1 week and basically write down everything you do in that week, and that will give you a really good overview of how you are spending your time. You could even track how long you're spending on that as well, because when you add up all of your admin time, like I said before, you might find that, okay, well, maybe I can't really afford an EHR as it is now, but if I saved myself X amount of admin time by not having to chase payments, not having to send appointment reminders and lots of other things, then you might find, okay, well, I'll have some space to take on that extra client that's going to pay for the EHR. So the next thing you want to do is identify the pain points. So you want to really think about, okay, what is causing me the most stress or taking up the most time? Now, I've given you a few examples of what that could be, but it could also be scheduling, client communication, clients wanting to reschedule sessions, all that kind of stuff, which can be also eradicated with an EHR, because when you set up an EHR, you will probably implement processes for your clients to make it easier for yourself, such as giving them specific days and times that they will see you, or setting up automated invoicing and things like that, which is going to save you time and also reduce communication back and forth with your clients. With Power Diary, the clients will also have access to a client portal, so you could allow them to reschedule their own session without even needing to contact you. And you can put in rules around that, like they can't reschedule a session with less than 24 hours, or they can't book in a session for that same day, things like that. There's lots of rules you can put in, but there are ways that you can eradicate some of the client communication. And then finally, in the assessing practice needs and goals, you do really want to set yourself some clear goals of what having an EHR is going to do for your practice. So maybe your goal is that you want to outsource all of the admin for your private practice, and once you set up the EHR and you have all these processes in place, it's going to be much easier for you to hand that over to an admin assistant rather than the way you're doing it now, which is really manual and you don't have many systems in place, so it's going to be much harder to get help with your administration. Maybe you want to reduce no-shows, and there's definitely evidence that having an EHR can do this based on all of the things that I've mentioned in this video, such as appointment confirmations, appointment reminders, invoicing for the session up front. You can also set up session packs so that people pay for a block of sessions in one go. The client portal where they can reschedule their own sessions. All of these things can really reduce no-shows in private practice, and I do also have a video all about how to reduce no-shows, which I will link as well if that's something that you are looking to do for your private practice. Another goal you could have for your private practice is to reduce the overdue invoicing, and again, I have found that clients are much more likely to pay when you have an EHR and you're sending invoices regularly, whether you're setting up session packs or whether you're just invoicing on an appointment by appointment basis, but they are used to getting that invoice. They have a pay link where they can easily make the payment online. So think about what your goals are for your EHR, and that's going to really help you get it set up in the right way. And the next section, and this is a big one, and this is all about gathering and organizing all of your data. So this is everything to do with your practice. And this is where my free resource can really come in handy, because I've outlined everything that you will need to set up an EHR. So this is specifically for Power Diary, but again, all of the information in the workbook could be for any EHR, because you'll still need the same information to input into the system. But that free resource is really going to help you think about all of the information about your private practice, get it all on paper so that when it comes to setting up the system, it's going to be much easier and much quicker for you. So again, I'll leave a link in the description for that. So the first thing you want to do is gather all your client information. So you want to have all of the details about your current clients in one doc. And I do have that master client list template, which can also help you with that too. So you can add in the client's details like their first name, their surname, their date of birth, where they were referred from, how much they pay you, when they see you, like lots of information all about your clients. You're going to need all that for the EHR. And the great thing about Power Diary is once you've filled in this spreadsheet, you can actually upload it to Power Diary and they will import all of the information for you, which will save you a ton of time when it comes to setting up your system. Once the client profiles are set up, you can also upload any information you have, such as any paperwork they've signed, any letters that you've received from other people in their care, client notes that you may have, maybe you have them on a Google Doc or something like that. You can actually upload all that information to Power Diary as well, so you have everything about your client in one place. So it's really great to gather all of that information up front, and that's going to be really quick and easy for you to complete the client profiles once you set up your system. You also want to prepare all of your financial data. So you want to make sure that you know exactly how many sessions that you're owed for, who owes what, so that you can ask your clients to kind of pay for all of those sessions in one go before you get started on the Power Diary system, so there's not that overlap of, oh, I paid for this session, I didn't pay for this one. So you want to really get clear on what is owed to you. Also, if people have paid for sessions up front, you're going to want to know that so they're not double invoiced when you set up your EHR. You're also going to want to know any details about medical insurance. If you work with insurers, you want to know who's with what insurer, what all of the authorization numbers are, how many sessions they've got outstanding, what's been paid for. So you really want to get clear on where you are with regards to the pre-authorized sessions as well for your clients. And this is also a great time for you to review all of your practice paperwork. So if you have a therapy contract, if you have a release of information, a client intake form, or if you don't have these currently, it's a really great time to think about what kind of paperwork you would like your clients to complete. Create that paperwork from scratch or edit the one you currently have, because you can create these templates in Power Diary. And when I've done setups for therapists in private practice, it's been a great way to get the new paperwork read and signed by clients, because we've told them, you know, we're starting with a new system and we'd really like you to complete these forms so we have all of your up-to-date information and everything on the system is accurate. So even if a client has been with you a couple of years, it's a great way to get them to re-sign the therapy agreement, any release of information you want them to sign, and things like that. We also do annual reviews with our clients as well. So we'll send all of the current clients an updated intake form so that we can make sure that we have their updated address, GP details, and things like that. So that's really easy to do with Power Diary as well, because you can send a bulk email to all of your active clients and it's super quick and easy. So it's a great time when you are moving to an EHR to review your current documentation within your practice. And then finally, when it comes to moving to an EHR, you really want to plan the setup and implementation timeline. It is going to take you time to set up any system that you have, whether somebody is doing it for you, whether you're doing it yourself, whether you have help like my Power Diary setup course, or whether you're just winging it and doing it yourself. It is going to take time. So you really want to plan out some time when you're either quieter, or you can take some time off from seeing clients so that you can do the setup. Power Diary do offer training sessions. So that's one-to-one with a customer service representative, and they are extremely knowledgeable about Power Diary and will be able to answer all of your questions, and they are completely free to book as well once you start your Power Diary trial. So I would really recommend having a one-to-one with the representative, because they are going to be able to show you around the system, give you a walkthrough, and explain what it is that you need to set up as well. You also want to make sure that you have time scheduled to do the setup, because you will need to do that yourself unless you hire somebody to do it for you. So you want to make sure you have some specific time to do the setup. Power Diary do offer a free 14-day trial, so that would be a great time to do the setup in those 14 days and then go live when you start being charged for the system. But it may take you longer than that to do the setup. I have worked with clients in the past that have had an account with various EHRs and they haven't even completed the setup, but they're continuing to pay for the EHR because they just have not taken the time to do that, and then they get overwhelmed and they're kind of just paying for this system which they're half using. And it's such a waste of money, because the system can be so beneficial and save you so much time and money if it's set up correctly. Once you have completed the setup and you've uploaded all your client data with the help of Power Diary, if you're using Power Diary, you also want to put some time aside for testing. I recommend testing every single thing you are doing with yourself. So I recommend setting yourself up as a client and then sending yourself forms so that you can complete them and see how easy they are to complete. You can read them and things like that. You could also get another colleague to also fill the form out so that you can see what it looks like from a therapist point of view and also a client point of view. You want to test all of your automations, so any booking confirmations, any appointment reminders, you want to make sure that's fully tested before you go live with your clients. You also want to test your payments. So if you are using the integration with Stripe, you want to make sure that once you get the payment, that it's going into your bank, that it's updating the Power Diary system correctly, and everything is working on that side. And if you're using the telehealth function within Power Diary, I would also recommend doing a test with a colleague or a partner or anybody really, that you can just see what it's like from a client point of view and also from the therapist point of view, so that you can use the telehealth system and save yourself some money on Zoom, because you would no longer need that if you're using telehealth within Power Diary. That was everything that you need to think about when it comes to migrating your therapy practice to an EHR. Don't forget, I have loads of resources for you. I've got the free workbook, which will help you get all of the information from your head about your private practice onto paper to help you with the setup. I also have a free client master list template, which will help you get all of your client information into one doc, which will make it much easier to set up all of your clients on an EHR. And if you'd really like some help with the Power Diary setup, I also do have a Power Diary setup course. It's a step-by-step course you can join anytime you want. And I've set it up into 14 modules, so you can kind of do one thing a day within your 14-day trial, or you could do it all in one go, so it's doesn't get released every single day. You have access to the whole course straight away, and you can take a week off work and do the whole thing in one go, or you can take it day by day and do a little bit at a time. All of the modules and lessons have video instructions, so you get a full step-by-step guide of how to set up each thing within Power Diary. So I really hope you found that useful. I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out and helps me produce more videos like this for therapists in private practice. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.